Haidong! In this video, we're going to talk about the cycles of breathing meditation. So I mentioned in the last video about the 6 positions that there are 2 kinds of meditation for Gumdo. So one is more of the strain on the body, right? So make you aware of certain things. The other is going to be a little bit more, the more meditation that you kind of think of when you think of meditation, like especially if you're trying to relax or trying to purge your mind. That's going to be also a version. Now this thing, so this cycle of breathing is what Master Paul, so my instructor, called it, right? So I'm just going to keep that legacy. But this is you're going to be able to use this in both ways. But let's take a look, right? This is something that if you've seen Gumdo, if you've been to a Gumdo event, almost guaranteed they did this at some point. This is more or less the canonical way to work on breathing in Gumdo. But let's take a look, right? So if we, just like in the previous one, we're going to be in our nice kimase, right? Like we're riding our horse. The idea is this. So I'm going to first show you, I did this in the previous video as well, but I'm going to show you what it generally looks like. And then we can take a look at, again, interpretations I've heard, developed, all that fun stuff with this, right? So the idea is here. As you can probably tell, there's a lot of emphasis on the actual like deep breathing with this one, versus that very emphatic ki up, right? With chun, chi, i, right? So you always kind of like having that extra oomph again in your diaphragm. This one is a lot more specific towards again that breathing. But let's take a look again what's going on, again the nuances of what's going on here. Now I mentioned, again, the 2 styles of meditation. This is still that strain style. It's kind of, you're still thinking about, again, your thighs, your glutes, your core, your lower back. Now also thinking about other aspects that are associated with the actual breathing. So we're going to start here, right? So the idea is to start, so you can actually kind of gather, almost like you're gathering in energy again. You're going to have your right on top of left, and you're going to think about the full range of your wrists. Obviously, we use our wrists a lot in Gumdo, right? Not as much as, say, Chinese straight sword, for example, or Chinese broads or anything like that. But the idea is very similar, right? We do still use our wrists. The idea here, so I'm going to, without doing anything yet, thinking about the movement of the wrist. The idea is almost I'm trying to, so pinch, right? I usually have these 3 fingers, right? Pinching in, almost like crane style, if you've ever done crane style. Flex, right? So notice as you, so for here, turn, flex, notice all the muscles that are activating. This should strain what you're doing, right? So you should feel the extension of your forearm. You should feel it in your deep shoulder, not just your top shoulder, deep shoulder, right? And the more deep in the shoulder you feel, the more on the top surface of your forearm. So you should think about here, right? So gather it in, so stretch. Right, so this is stretching, again, the limits of your arm, of your wrist, right? So for here, we're going to gather it in, so bum, right? So notice that we're coming in this way, and we're twisting, again, as far down this, as far down this way, and almost like you're extending, almost like scissors, right? Extend, almost like you want to like peck, again, if these are crane, peck each other, again, reach. And then notice that my deep shoulder is connected, everything's very straight. Again, all the time inhaling, right? Here, push open, right? Almost like you're trying to push open the door, right? Open up your chest, right? So it's not swimming, right? It is here, I'm pushing it open, right? So you should feel that your upper pectorals, and this should be opening this way. You're gonna draw as far back as you physically can. If you can't actually touch behind you while everything is straight, good on you. You're going to push back as far as you can, right? Again, now stretching this part, right? And you're also going to be stretching in parts of the rib, but we're going to do that a little more. From here, you're going to curl, right? Curl. I'm trying to use this as well, but we're going to see how that works. Here, curl in, tuck. Again, it's almost like your palms are down, or your palms are up, but your fingers are down. Twist as you can, use your lower back. Twist. Hold that breath, and then, right? So exhale as you push. Notice I'm not, right? It's like I'm trying to push something here, right? So I can push my diaphragm back, push my shoulders back as I push forward. And again, so this is the way that I've been training with it. 2 of these, and then 1 giant energy draw. Now another interpretation is, so one interpretation is simply working the stretch of the body, right? So I'm flexing my wrists, right? I'm pushing my chest open, feeling a little bit on the top shoulder, right? But also the chest, pushing that in, tucking in, feeling everything nice and tight, and then push back, push forward, right? Now another interpretation is going to be the actual drawing and harvesting of energy. Makes it again sound so capitalist, but the idea is, so instead of merely stretching, right? The idea is also, because we are in a good, flexed state, we can be here, we're gonna, as we inhale, we're gonna, almost like you're gathering that energy, almost like you're reaching in, right? You're pulling, almost like you're swimming in it, pulling it in, into your chest, and then, right? So that's going to be another interpretation, is just gathering the ambient energy, again, if you're more into that kind of thing, storing it, right? So there is that pause, there is that moment of like holding it in, feeling that, first of all, the air in your lungs stale a little bit, and feel that energy again in your core, and then eventually purge, right? I'm probably using much harsher language than probably most meditative people think, like purging energy versus like let it go, right? Or release, right? Right. So you're doing all sorts of good things with this. This is one reason I really like this, and I'm going to do it more often, at least with me and my students. That's correct. That's grammatically correct. But yeah, so the idea, again, just one more time. Again, you can almost think about, so for here, right, I like to have almost like this motion first, so pushing it in, and then flex. Again, good kimase, I keep on forgetting. Good kimase, push out, extend, open. Again, this should all be actually one fluid motion. I'm stopping there just because I'm teaching, right? Above here, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, hold, and then, good. And the last one. Whatever the last set is, right, you're going to do, so again, crossing, the same kind of crossing, you may be a little bit lower, right? But now you're going to, it's almost like chun, right? Breathing in, so all of it, like you're gathering the last of it. So from the air, from the earth, you're gathering up from your knees. In, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, hold, and then purge. I tend to go into this position, just kind of like have a position to hold my hands in meditation. And then this is just something I've seen people do as they're getting, if it's only open hand, getting back into a walking position. Make sense? The other style is going to be actually from a seated position, right? So again, just seating, again, facing forward. It's going to be the same exact thing, but notice you're not going to have the strain from your legs unless if this is highly uncomfortable, which it might be for many of us, myself included, but I'm going to go do this for a little bit. They can also do this if it's okay with your master, again, whoever's instructing, either to be in this position or in a more relaxed position. Like, so for example, it's really only going to be this or this position. Now, a quick note on this, right, because of etiquette. So for example, this position is fine, this isn't, right? It's just a little bit more on the rude side, and goodness forbid you do something like this. Now, just so you know, for one reason is that actually showing the bottom of your foot to someone, at least in a lot of Asian cultures, is very disrespectful. Right? So if I'm just doing this and my master's right there, I'm just kind of like, not good, right? Like this is going to be very, very disrespectful. It's just generally not going to be good. I mean, it might be comfortable for you, but again, like the point of martial arts is not to be comfortable, it's to be disciplined. So let's not do this, right? So, and just think about this in general, right? So like if you are used to, for example, I know in some grappling, right? This is a fine position to be in, right? But notice again, this is going to be showing, right? So if you are in this position and there is someone to your right, or even if you're in the opposite position and someone's to your left, generally not a good idea because again, the bottom of the heel. But with that, let's get back into other position. So from here, right, it's going to be the same thing, right? So now we don't have the strain of the legs in the kimasai, right? But we can do the same thing that we were doing before. So from here, again, facing forward, breathing, right? So this is more the breathing exercise than it is a like a straightening exercise, right? So this is the point where you can relax. This position in this type of meditation is intended to help you clear your mind, right? That's not really intended to be like, oh, feel how your legs are extended or blah blah blah. This is allegedly supposed to be something that's a little more comfortable. So for here, right? So we can either be here. We might have started here, right? Depending on again how your master started. But from here, right? And breathe in. Again, same thing. So extend, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Hit the wall, curl in. And at this point, feel again, so I mentioned again testing limits, at least in terms of the arms. This is going to be testing limits on your lung capacity, right? So you're breathing in, breathe until you have to stop. Breathe like a little bit more, right? So don't burst your lungs because that'll be bad. And don't sue me because no liability. But breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. And a little bit more like as you tuck, just a little bit more, right? So you kind of feel your lung capacity expand just a little bit. Hold, 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 and then push. Again, almost like you're making a diamond around your diaphragm or around your solar plexus and push, right? Again, notice again, you're trying to have a straight back as well. Again, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, hit the wall, in, tuck, roll, and then now something without as many sound effects, right? Do as many cycles as is necessary, and then the last one's going to be the exact same. Open. I tend to have like overlapping just because I'm weird. And then rest. This is a general position that I've seen. This is the way my master showed me. Just kind of like resting your right hand on top of left, and just kind of let your thumbs touch. And you're just going to rest that like above your belt knot. And just like relax, right? Now normally your eyes would be closed for this process, right? So you're not like looking at people kind of swimming in front of others. The idea here is like, all right, my eyes are closed. A quick drill that I used to do, and I still do, is while you have so first before we do our cycles, we have meditation, just hold this position. While we're holding the position, I might ask like, oh, go through your form. So go through your form as perfectly as your mind can develop it, right? And this is a drill I'm taking from Master Paul, by the way. Like, see yourself almost like you're watching something in the cinema, and it's like, all right, that is the perfect, Genback 1. That is the perfect Banguk 3, or whatever form you're working on. And watch it, analyze it, and then after you watch it, let's say 3 times, right? And then let your mind blank again, right? Now, what I might do at the very end of the class is go through your form 3 times in your mind. When you're done, start your cycle. So me on the outside will see like when I see everyone has done this, everyone has finished. Now, one small note on that is, if you're in class and you start hearing other people like, you might kind of speed up, right? So again, depending on the circumstance, right? If it's a small class or if you just don't care, right? That like if you hear other people breathing, just take your time. Again, the point of this is for you to master something, right? But that's a quick drill that I like to do from this position. And again, you can do the same thing from our other cross-leg position. So those are two different ways you can do the same cycles of breathing, right? This is, again, if you've ever been to any event, you've seen this before. These are just interpretations I've gathered, again, from many different sources, right? So again, transparency, right? So obviously Master Paul, who's the one who trained me, Master Bergman, who then trained me, Master Hansen, who's also just, a font of knowledge as well. So I've just been playing with, again, information I've gathered from all of them. The specific interpretation is a little bit more my own, because you probably will hear, again, each of them and each master talk about it a little bit differently. But also, like, if you yourself are a master, think about how this affects you, right? So obviously, I'm just some random master on YouTube, right? Versus something like, all right, so like, when I do this, I feel this, right? Like, I don't feel it. So for example, maybe you do it and you don't feel anything in your, pectorals or something like that, but you do feel it in your lower back, which you might, right? It's like, all right, so that's how I'm interpreting it. Maybe that's, maybe thinking about like the chakras. I don't really know that much. I'm just throwing that term out there. All right, so maybe that's like one of them. I think like you're kind of thinking about like the energy around those. Maybe you're not into energy and just into breathing, and this is a good way to ground yourself, right? So, especially again in modern times, obviously in the past as well, but having a way to physically ground yourself, especially in the absence of like phones and stuff like that, this is a nice way, right? So you're actually thinking about the strains on your body, but they also feel kind of good, right? So again, the straining, the stretching, they're testing the limits, and every time you do it, so long as you do it consistently, you get a little bit better. You get a little bit more flexibility. You get a little bit more air. You get a little more energy from the meditation. So this is a nice way just to ground yourself, kind of again purge. Maybe if you have an active brain or something like that. Just a recommendation, right, for us to play with that. But yeah, so I guess with that, make sure you stay safe. So mentally safe too, right? I want to make sure, again, physically and mentally safe. So stay safe, stay humble, and keep training and try this out, right? Haidong!